Hello friends, this is Alok. Welcome to our blog. For many people in Eastern Europe, August 1939 may not feel that long ago. That was the moment Hitler's Germany and Stalin's Soviet Union secretly agreed to partition Poland and forcibly subsume the sovereign Baltic republics and Finland into their totalitarian spheres of influence. The world knows what came next. Now the question arises, is it happening again? This time around it's Donald Trump, United States and Vladimir Putin's Russia making the big geopolitical power play. And once again, all of Europe is potential prey. Notwithstanding last week's sparring over Ukraine, the two leaders' courage appear closely aligned. Physical subjugation of the European continent is not a Trump objective unlike perhaps in Venezuela, Canada or Greenland, but US efforts to dominate the continent through political interference, ideological subversion, economic blackmail, unregulated big tech predation, and the projection of conservative Christian national cultural beliefs amount to much the same thing. Putin's methods are bit cruder, yet his agenda mirrors same like Trump's. He will not let go of Ukraine easily. His intensifying leveraging the Russian military threat from the Baltic states to the Black Sea, including in Moldova, Romania, and Georgia. Russian hybrid warfare, sabotage, cyber attacks, online trolling, and disinformation is now a fact of daily Western European life. Trump, as a failed coup leader, are not in formal alliance with Putin, yet they have not agreed a 1939 style Molotov-Ribbentrop non-aggression pact. But there is extensive common ground. Both despise European liberal democracy, equal rights, and multiculturalism. Both are viscerally hostile to the EU. Both hanker for the past imperial glories. Both reject UN globalism and international law. Their anti-democratic ultra-nationalism nourish foul ideas of ethnic and racial supremacy that most Europeans had long consigned to history. Trump makes no secret of his desire to normalize US relations with Russia. He claims this would lead to vast mutually beneficial money-making opportunities. When he complained last week that Putin has let him down, he was not so much talking about his embarrassing Alaska Peace Summit, but the Russian president refused to cut a deal and cash in. Trump's supposed pro-Kiev shift typify his pinball policy making, which ricochets randomly from one wacky idea to another. It will not endure. His warning that Russia faces big economic trouble was his way of pushing Putin into doing business while leaving Ukraine and European NATO members to manage the long-term Russian threat alone. The US president is urging others to cut off Russian oil, but the US itself does nothing. Promised to gather sanctions or all talk. He refuses to resume direct military aid to Kyiv or Russian incursion into NATO territory. In this context, his prediction that Ukraine will somehow regain all its lost territory is cruel mockery. Trump and Putin's political pressure campaigns are mutually reinforcing. Both support European hard-right populist nationalist parties and politicians. In February, the US Vice President J.D. Vance directly intervened in Germany's election, siding with the far-right alternative for Deutschland. Trump backing for the Polish presidential candidate Karol Nawrocki may have helped the conservative nationalists score a narrow victory. Similar Russian influence campaigns plus dirty tricks and alleged vote buying have marred elections in Romania and Moldova, which goes to the polls this weekend, where Trump and Putin conspire to ensure a hard-right populist succeeds Emmanuel Macron as French president in 27. It's a legitimate worry. Both leaders exploit Europe's open society, staging political plots and promoting favoritism. In Trump's case, one such is Giorgia Meloni, Italy's right-wing prime minister. Another is British anti-migrant populist Nigel Farage, the quite essential useful idiot. In Putin's case, Its pro-Moscow leaders such as Hungary Viktor Orban and Slovakia Robert Fico. The most obvious manifestation of hostile US economic pressure is Trump's unilateral tariffs, which foreshadow the summer visibly lopsided EU-US trade deal. American big tech 31 billion British pound investment announced during Trump quasi-regal state visit carries a whiff of new colonialism. Buying British is fine, but are US billionaires buying British? A disturbing report by the European Council on Foreign Relations and European Culture Foundation claims the US is waging a broad culture war against Europe, yet its central finding that Trump is promoting political and ideological allies while simultaneously trying to sideline and divide the EU applies with equal force to Putin, Russia. The defense of free speech mounted by Vance during his infamous Munich Security Conference attack on Europe's supposed retreat from some of its most fundamental values is a key cultural battleground, and here is another convergence. For Trump and Putin's speech is free if they agree with the speaker but not otherwise. Trump and Vance are like two clowns resembling Laurel and Hardy, except their gags are not jokes. The ECFR report optimistically suggests the dual assault from east and west is drawing Europeans together. Yet, as ever in Europe, what's lacking is urgency and strong, united leadership. What's lacking is clear understanding that this US administration, no longer a trusted friend to anyone, is turning into an outright enemy, and that the Russian bear, a species once thought extinct, is back with a vengeance similar like Putin.